It's the Health in the Real World podcast. It's time to start the show with Chris Janke as your host. Here to give you everything that you need when it comes to fitness strategies. We keep it simple and easy. It's your roadmap to get healthy. You don't need equipment and you don't need a gym. Just the right strategies to get you fit and trim.
The Health in the Real World podcast is sponsored by...
I can help you get healthy without aches and pains, without all the back pain. Text the word workout to 408-883-4442 and get started for free. Hello and welcome to Health in the Real World. I'm joined today by Bo Green. He didn't buy me a ticket, but he is in El Salvador living it up. Bo, how's it going?
Going great.
That's awesome. I think it's a good podcast where we can talk about kind of the decision that you made to travel on your own, different things you gave up in order to pursue those items that are on your bucket list. And like you said, big items. So introduce yourself real quick and what you're all about and what you're up to right now.
Hey, what's going on, guys? My name is Bo Green. I am a sober confidence coach, and I haven't always been sober. And this whole bucket list, this whole pursuit of traveling by myself really changed my life. And I'd love to share some of my experience with you.
Yeah, I've noticed that. I've talked to a few other people who have, been, helping people gain sobriety and things like that. Sounds like you're going about it a different way. But most of those people that I have interviewed have had some sort of struggle with that. So are you cool with us first going into that? Like, what made you decide to give up drinking? What kind of things were happening in your life?
What a great question. Okay. So, throughout my whole entire life, I've been a big partier. I was the biggest partier of anybody. And after I graduated, all the way throughout college, through my master's degree and everything. And once I got my master's degree, I decided to work on yachts. And yachting is a huge industry of drinking. After I decided that wasn't for me, I took a trip around the whole United States with my car with a rooftop tent for 6 months by myself. And it took about 2 months to figure out that I was afraid of being by myself. So some stuff came up. Instead of drinking, I smoked, because once I went on the west coast of the United States, weed was legal. So why not try it?
Yep.
Why not try it? So I got a little weed pen and I smoked probably 3 to 5 times a day. Wow. And I never developed a tolerance to it. So I would get super stoned very quickly. And I'd be stoned for 2 or 3 hours driving around. Everything was beautiful. Everything tasted great. Everything was awesome. Until something hit me where I couldn't sleep at night. I got super paranoid. I thought I was going to die. I cried myself to the sunrise, and I thought I was going to have a heart attack. I remember filming myself thinking that I was going to die. And this wasn't the first time. It was the third time this happened. I went to the emergency room twice, and then this other time was in my car by myself. So I threw out my weed pen out the window and went through a series of cleansing opportunities. And I was like, well, if I'm going to get rid of smoking weed, it doesn't make sense to just drink. And so I decided to give up smoking weed and drinking. And I decided to fast for 4 days. I wanted to do it for so long, but I was like, you know what? I'm going to fast for 4 days. So I even gave up food. And, what kind of came along with that food and with that drinking and with the smoking was a different aspect as well that kind of was brought on by the drinking. And once I realized that I stopped drinking, I didn't have the sex drive as much anymore. I wasn't like a one mission person to where I pretty much only drank when there's women around. I never drank with the boys or by myself. It was not worth it because the alcohol gave me that confidence.
Right. I got you.
So on this journey, I just gave up weed, I gave up alcohol, and then it just happened to give up sex as well. Mm-hmm. All from one weed pen.
One weed pen and one lesson driving cross country. That's awesome. So for somebody who drinks or smokes or both, and maybe they have an idea that they want to get rid of it, and somebody that you may end up coaching in the future, and they see kind of the extreme that you did, right? You traveled across country for, what'd you say, 6 months?
6 months.
And went through these extreme events. Do you feel like that has to be the case? Like you have to do something extreme, or have you seen people get sober like in more of a gradual step by step? Or I would imagine everyone's different, but what are kind of some of the ways you've seen other people do it as well?
Some of the common themes, that's a great question. Some of the common themes I've noticed is pretty much everybody has to hit some sort of rock bottom, some sort of time where they're like, oh my gosh, I'm totally done with this. And it has to be their choice to give up whatever it is, whether it be smoking weed, whether it be sex addiction, whether it be porn, any type of addiction you have to hit some sort of rock bottom, and you have to have a why that's bigger than yourself. Right. So like my why wasn't just, oh, I need to stop drinking. It was like, I don't want to meet my wife drunk or stoned. So it was bigger than me. So your why has to be bigger than you. And you have to sit some sort of rock bottom where you're like, I don't want to do this anymore. And then move from there.
Got it. That's awesome. And then so you've hit that rock bottom. You finished out that trip. Now you're on a new trip with different drivers, right? A different intention is driving this trip. So let's turn the attention to that, to your bucket list, to surfing. You're a new surfer, and you want to talk about your surfing aspirations and why you're in El Salvador.
Well, let's see. I wrote down a bucket list of all the things I want to do before I die, because one of my buddies, my buddy's brother passed away recently. He was way younger than me. And this got me realizing, like, holy shit, it's like, I don't know how long I'm going to live. And I've never written a bucket list before. So I want to do certain things before I die. So I wrote down the craziest stuff that I could ever think about, like going to Vipassana in India with a guru, surf a reef break in Indonesia, sail from the Galapagos to French Polynesia, like the craziest things I could think of. And, as I'm writing my Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4 goals for my career goals, I started thinking, I was like, what if I could do both? What if I could do my career and my bucket list all in 1 year?
Wow.
And I presented this idea to a few people thinking they would say no way, but they were like, absolutely, you can do it. And I was like, damn, all right, let's go. Like it was the universe like saying, go for it. Yeah. And like you said, I've always been somebody where people look at me and they're like, do you surf, bro? Do you smoke, bro? Just because of my hair? And I always answer, yeah, I guess I surf. But I was tired of that. Like, there's no excuse why I shouldn't be a surfer. There's no excuse. Right. So I've been working for the last 3 months on my surfing, starting from Panama over to Costa Rica and over to El Salvador, in order to pursue that huge bucket list goal, which is to surf a massive reef break in Indonesia, because it is sketchy. It is shallow. Yeah. It is sketchy. It is sharp. And I want to be able to build the confidence in order to do that. Yeah.
That's awesome. What do you think it is about your personality that, a lot of people would just think about doing that, or they'd say, oh, later. What is it about your personality that you said, yeah, it's time, let's just do this?
Well, two books that changed my life is definitely The Alchemist, where you follow your personal legend, the whole universe conspires to make your dream come true, and The 5-Second Rule.
Yeah, Mel Robbins.
Right, the 5-Second Rule by Mel Robbins is like I've kind of converted that into more of like a 3-second rule, where it's like a 3, 2, 1, send it.
Yeah.
And I follow whatever makes my heart beat really fast. Like that feeling where you get nervous, you're like, holy crap, I could actually do this.
Right.
I follow that. And instead of looking at something that you're afraid of and looking at the repercussions that might happen, I look at the top of overcoming that fear and being like, holy crap, I actually did it. So I guess that developed over time with traveling by myself.
Yeah. Wow.
Yes.
And that's a relatively new thing too, right? Because you said you were sort of avoiding being on your own. And so I would imagine, yeah, something, I guess the more you're on your own, you start to develop confidence in yourself. And then you're like, dude, I just did that. I can do this, right?
Exactly. When you travel with other people, what seems to happen is like somebody's good at the planning and somebody's good at the packing and somebody's great at speaking a different language. And you all like fall into place and you like just kind of chill back and can relax into the thing that you're good at. But when you're by yourself, you have to do all those things. And what I realized is I sucked at a lot of them. My sense of direction was terrible. My common sense was really bad. So I had to learn all these things, and I'm still not the best at it, but I know that I can do it.
You know, you can do it, and you know, you have your ways of adapting to it. How's your Spanish? Pretty decent, or?
Un poquito.
So you mentioned The Alchemist and the 5-second rule, Mel Robbins, and they're up. You know, Mel Robbins is up there giving speeches and stuff. So I want to close off the podcast with like a chance for you to get in front of, let's say, like a college graduation, and you're going real big picture. You're going to talk to them about how you think they can get the most out of their lives. What direction would you go with that speech? What would that look like?
100% solo travel. That's the way I would go. I would go, everybody should do it once, just to go somewhere they've always wanted to go or do something they've always wanted to do by themselves. And you will find out who you really are. In the end of high school, you start to, for me in my high school, I tried to adapt to all the people who were the coolest people in high school so that I could be cool. If I wasn't cool, I felt like I was a failure. I felt like my parents wouldn't love me if I wasn't cool, right? Which is a high school brain. But when you escape from that and you're able to find out who you are, maybe it might not be right after high school. It might be out of college. But some point in your life to make a trip longer than 2 weeks by yourself to see who you attract and see who you are.
That's awesome. Yep. And you're living that. That's awesome. So book the plane tickets now, guys. Bo, are you working with clients? I know you're a sober confidence coach. Like, are you coaching people virtually while you're down there, or are people reaching out to you with that, getting help with that?
Yeah. So I have 3 ways that I can be in contact with clients. One is one-on-one via Zoom, like virtually. Also, I'm hosting my first sober adventure retreat here in El Salvador with my friend Yenny. Sweet. So we're doing in-person retreats where we just go on badass adventures. And, you know, I teach people all the things that I have integrated in my life, and Yenny has integrated in her life in order to get high on your own supply and have a fun adventure, to have the confidence you need with a sober identity, right? Yeah. And to be able to travel around the world by yourself.
That's awesome.
So that's another outlet of reaching out to my clients. And the new one that I'm really excited about is to take people on private solo adventures, to teach people exactly how to, all the things that I've learned in the past 5 years of traveling, and do that with a one-on-one in-person experience where we just book the first night and the rest of it we figure out, kind of like a flocation. Cool. Because that's the most beautiful parts of traveling is figuring it out, getting into trouble, and getting yourself out.
Yeah, that's awesome. So how do people get information about that, especially the retreat?
Reach out to me on Instagram. My Instagram is _BO_green. If you type in Bo Green, it'll probably be the first person to pop up.
Cool.
So
cool. Sounds good. All right. Well, appreciate you joining me, Bo. This has been awesome. I wish you all the best. You're obviously living it up. Everybody learn from Bo. Book your plane tickets. I'm having flashback. Like last year, I did a lot of traveling. And during COVID, it was so easy. Like there were nobody on the plane. So I went to Florida a lot, like I told you earlier. So I'm just, remembering those days and wanting to get back out and travel. So that's awesome. Congrats.
Yes.
And thanks for joining us again today.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Chris. You have a beautiful day. And if you ever want to go to Mexico, that's where I'm going next.
Ooh, I'm down. Let's talk.
All righty.
All right. Sounds good, man.
Thank you so much, Chris.
Thanks for listening to the Health in the Real World show. Make sure to like and subscribe and comment down below. Visit mycorebalance.com to learn more.